The iPhone 12 has finally shipped and arrived in the hands of many, many excited, I'm sure, users. We're going to hear from two of our iPhone users about what they think of the new iPhone 12 lineup. Stick around. Hey everyone, welcome back to Today in Tech. I'm Julia Beauchamp, and I'm here as always with Macworld senior writer Michael Simon, as well as Computer World executive editor Ken Mingus, at least certainly one proud new iPhone 12 owner. And Mike, I'm sure have your review out.
Yeah, I'm the non-pro one, which is just how it's always been. Ken's the pro in this relationship.
Hey, but you're still proud of it, even if it's not a pro, right?
It's not even mine, Ken. I'm not proud of all of it.
Oh well, I'm proud of this one.
I'm just borrowing it for 3 weeks.
And I sweated watching this arrive from China for days and days and days. Thanks, UPS. But it did finally get here yesterday afternoon. So even though I missed the opening day, I'm up with the cool kids now.
My days of waiting for shipments to arrive are long gone. I don't care if it never gets here.
See, you're jaded. You're jaded. See, I'm still a kid. It's early Christmas or whatever holiday you want to pick. How do you like your phone, iPhone 12?
It's fantastic. Every time I use Android for 85% of the year, maybe more, and every time this time of year rolls around, what I do is, so my wife's on the iPhone upgrade program, so I get a new one. I swap out the SIM for 3 weeks or a month, and I test it out, and it's just always such a wonderful month. Apple they just know what they're doing. So 4 gigs of RAM, 2800 milliamp hour battery, 1080p screen. These are specs that would be laughable on Android, and they kill it. They're able to do so much with so much less. It's remarkable.
I was just going to say, you're making the point that they would be laughable because Android would probably have some problems with that level. Yeah.
Your battery would die by noon. Your every app would stutter. Nothing would stay in memory. The Galaxy Note 20 has Note 20 Ultra has a 4500 milliamp hour battery, 12 gigs of RAM, and a Quad HD screen. And the iPhone 12 is as good in most parts and better in others.
Well, it's interesting because, we sort of joke about it, but I do tend to go for the iPhone Pro lineup. This year, I did go with the smaller model. First of all, it's the first one out. Yeah. And secondly, coming from the iPhone 11 Pro Max, I wanted to try something a little smaller. Mm-hmm. And, obviously, it's noticeably smaller, a little bit, but not dramatically so. And it's, I think definitely more portable. So I'm definitely going to hang on to it. It's not something, some people I've seen on various boards are like, well, I'm going to get the 12 Pro, but I'll probably just, turn it back into Apple and get the Pro Max. It's interesting, though, because other than a few small things, really the difference between the Pro that I've got and the iPhone 12 you've got are pretty, marginal. Okay, I've got a couple of extra gigs of RAM. Yeah. The camera obviously is nicer in this, but for day-to-day use,
the telephoto is the difference,
right? Basically. Yeah, but other than that, and that's why I was saying, we essentially have the same phone. What color did you get?
The blue.
Oh, you got the dark blue, right?
It's a blue.
Yeah.
Mine is they just call yours is Pacific
it's
blue.
Pacific blue, yeah.
Mine's just blue.
Yeah, and it's in a case. I've only had mine not even 24 hours, so I haven't had a chance really to test it out. But I did.
We know you stayed up all night and played with it.
Well, no, I didn't. But one of the things I did notice is that, first of all, there was some complaints when these things first rolled out about people being able to activate the phone, probably because everybody was activating phones.
I had issues. I got it on launch day, and I had issues with Verizon. I always do, though. Like I said, I don't care. I know people care about these things. I had to wait like 2 hours for it to finally work.
Yeah, well, but I did not have that problem. And also, there were some questions about whether or not the 5G implementation would show up under the cellular options on the phone. Some people were saying it didn't. I don't know whether they had swapped SIM cards and that's why they weren't seeing that. I do have that option here, although having checked, apparently there is no 5G anywhere near me in Raleigh, North Carolina. So
you have a plan that offers it?
Yeah, it's the AT&T Ultimate something unlimited. I don't know. But yeah, it does offer it, but we just don't have 5G available here. Again, so far so good. The transfer went smoothly. The devices, as you say, really, really well done. What do you think of the new design?
I like it. I was always partial to that iPhone 4, 5 flat design is very, very similar to that. It's kind of like one of the subheadings in my review. It said "brand new, you're retro," because it has that retro feel to it, but it also feels like a whole new thing. It's very nice. They did a very nice job with. I mean, they always do. Apple's throwaway designs are better than most of the people in the industry. I mean, they got it down. Even that camera array. If you remember when the rumors of the iPhone 11, people are like, "Oh my God, it's so ugly. It's so ostentatious and bulbous. And what are they doing? And this is ridiculous." Now everyone does it. Yeah. Everyone has a square camera in the top right corner, and it's iconic. You know, Apple's is, you look at it, you know it's an iPhone. That's, you know,
it's interesting that prompts one other difference. I don't think the iPhone 12 has the LiDAR sensor.
That's right. Yeah, the telephoto and the LiDAR. The LiDAR is less important to everyday day-to-day use. It helps a bit with portraits. It's more for AR stuff that right now no one's really using. But the telephoto, that's a bummer. Like, because most Android phones in that $800 range, you're gonna get a telephoto and an ultra wide. Like, you're gonna get those three lenses. This only has two. It is what it is. It's fine. I'd rather have an ultra wide if I'm gonna choose. Yeah. But I wouldn't mind having the option to have an optical zoom. That said, it's only 2x, and I wish Apple would really push that to 5 or maybe even 8 or 10. I'm sure they will at some point.
A genuine 5x, not the 2 out, 2 in equals 4. You know, please, come on, that's cheap. Marketing speak. Yeah.
Totally. And there are phone companies that are doing it with periscope lenses, and they're doing kind of funky things with the way that the setup is inside the camera to achieve higher optical zoom. Samsung has a 50x, digital optical combined zoom, which is a little crazy. But Samsung, like 20 or 25x, is really good because they have a good telephoto lens and they have good processing going on for the digital stuff. This is what Apple does. It waits until it gets it right, because those other phones, they're not perfect. Apple's not going to ship something that's not up to its standards. That's why we don't have 120 hertz refresh, because the battery suffered too much. Samsung says, all right, if you want it, you got to turn off the Quad HD, and you're going to lose battery life. They just don't. They just warn you. Apple's not going to do that. So
no, I mean, what's the point of rolling out a new feature that you then have to turn off so that you can save normal battery life?
It's not even on by default on when you get the phone. It's not even on by default. So you have to turn it on. Like, Apple's never going to do that. If they do promotion on the iPhone, which they will probably next year, it'll still last 15 to 17 hours. And it'll be an option to turn it off, of course, if you want to, but most people won't, because it won't be a big deal.
Well, that's one of the things too that I saw last week. And again, you usually see these reports right when the phones arrive and people are setting them up and apps are downloading and data's downloading and syncing over iCloud, et cetera. But a fair number of people were talking about that the battery life was less than they had anticipated. I think that sort of died down. I certainly haven't seen any problems.
It's not less than. This is what happens. The internet, somebody writes a story and someone else blows it up. So the battery life is essentially the same as the 11. The 11 was far and away the best battery life of its class of smartphone. I've never had to worry. So I've had this phone for a week, almost exactly a week, from morning to night. It lasts. I'm getting 15 hours easy with benchmarking, with videos, with streaming, with testing, and heavy use. The article said that someone tested it against the iPhone 11 and found that it was like 45 minutes less in their testing. And then I think it was PC Mag had it somehow hooked up to 5G for a whole day, doing stuff on 5G.
Well, that's going to run the battery.
Yeah,
I know that. Yeah.
Right. But it was only like an hour and a half less. It didn't destroy the battery like it does on some other Android phones. And again, it's the internet. Everything gets sensationalized. Everything gets blown out of proportion. Apple.
You're kidding. You mean just because I saw it online doesn't mean that it's not true, or is true?
No,
Wait,
I'm confused. I'm not saying it's not true. I'm saying it's blown out of proportion. Yes, there you can quibble with the iPhone 12 and then 12 Pro battery life. Apple has a extremely small battery capacity, very small. It's 2,800 in this one, and I think it's like 31 in yours.
Yeah,
that's very small. I would love to see like a 4,000 milliamp hour battery and 35 in this one maybe, and have it last like 2.5 days, because it would. But Apple doesn't really operate that way. They don't even tell you how big the battery is. All of the Android phones, like that's their thing. Like Samsung advertises, we have a 4,500 milliamp hour battery. Like that's what people want. Apple just says, hey, listen, don't worry about it. It's going to last you the whole day. You're going to have to plug it in. Okay. Let us handle the numbers. You just use the thing. But I would love it to last 2 days.
Have you tried MagSafe? Do you have one of the MagSafe?
I do have it. I have the weird case.
Yeah.
I have the charger over here.
How is that working? Are you finding that?
I mean, it has a lot of potential. In typical first gen Apple way, it's okay. It does I like the idea of snapping it on, and I don't have to worry about whether or not it's on place, which is an issue with some wireless chargers, particularly the pads. The wire is too short. It's only a 1 meter wire, so you have to be pretty close to a USB port or a plug. The functionality of it. So I assume the point of this thing, the puck, is so you can use it while you charge it. But there's a wire sticking out of your phone, so why not just plug it in and get faster charging? Like that, it's kind of a strange little thing. However, once wireless charging pads and stands and accessories and all that start rolling out, it's going to be awesome. Like this is basically Apple's demo to the third party manufacturer, saying, okay, here, this is what it does. If you want to buy a $39 charging puck like I did, go ahead and waste your money, because it's really not. It's not worth having.
I did not do that, by the way. But I'm waiting. Yeah.
And the case is kind of interesting. I
don't like it with the big round circle around the apple.
I mean, it is what it is. Whatever.
It's ugly.
But I thought the reason why I bought the case, or one of the reasons why I bought the case, was because I thought it was going to be like a cool, like snap on, snap off thing. It is not. It is just as difficult to take on and off as it's always been. So I
have found that about Apple's cases. Sometimes they can be really tough to clip on, and then they don't come off easily.
But I thought the magnet would make it so it's like click click, but no, it doesn't do that. Listen, MagSafe is cool. I don't know if it's going to be a big proprietary thing for Apple, maybe, but it's definitely seeking to solve a problem that is it is an issue. I have it with all my phones. Like I'll wake up in the morning and say, oh, geez, it didn't charge because it was like slightly off center, or the camera bump pushed it up, or whatever it is. So it's a good solution. It just it needs more things to go with it.
Got it. Understood.
And it also needs to get into everything else too.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. The ecosystem. Well, question for you then. All right. So you've got the iPhone 12. I've got the 12 Pro. Well, are you going to be doing a review or hands-on at all with the 12 Pro Max, the big one that's coming in a couple weeks?
One of us will be. We have 3 people that work for us. Don't know who. Maybe Roman might be doing that one because he's the editor or whatever.
Right.
The editor.
Big Cheese.
Yeah, whatever his title is, I don't know. But he might be doing that review. Jason Cross did the Pro, and I did the non-Pro. The Mini is basically the same exact phone that I just reviewed, except it's a little bit smaller. So we might just do a hands-on with that. I don't know if it's really worth writing a full review because it's literally identical. It just has a smaller screen. There's nothing different about it.
Right. Okay. Got it. I'm just wondering, and I should let you go so that Juliet can. Were you going to say something, Juliet? Did I jump on you there?
No, I was just going to say we'll link the review below. But I was actually going to ask, Apple ordered how many million iPhone 12s to be?
We don't know, but generally they sell about 60 million in the quarter.
So do you think that they're on track to do that?
Yeah, there's no question. Usually at this time you read stories of sales were underwhelming and Apple's cutting orders, and I don't see any of that. In fact, I see quite the opposite. They say that they were surprised at how robust the Pro sales were, and that pre-orders, at least in the first couple hours, topped the iPhone 11. So there's a lot of tailwinds to suggest that they're selling well. They just had the quarterly results. They just announced them yesterday, and it was the first time in about 10 years that they didn't include iPhones in this quarter. Usually there's like a week or two. And so iPhone sales were predictably down about 20%, which, of course. everything else was up. Somehow they sold $9 billion worth of Macs. I don't know how the heck they did that. But
well,
they did.
Everybody's outfitting their home offices now.
It's literally the biggest quarter ever, and twice as much as a normal quarter. And even like last quarter was $7 billion, which is a lot. 9 is nuts. But all their other categories were up fairly robustly, but the iPhone wasn't. And Tim Cook said, listen, we have great faith in the iPhone, and it's selling well. What's he going to say? The iPhone sucks, and we're not going to sell any of them. That's just Apple speak. But all signs point to a very, very good selling so far, and I think a lot of people are going to be waiting for the Pro and the Mini, probably a little bit more niche than the 12s, but than the non whatever I'm saying, than the ones that are out now. But I think they're going to fill all those gaps that were kind of left, where the Max is a real kind of a high-end enthusiast phone. The Mini fills that old SE spot where somebody who wants the newer they'll get the newer tech and
the latest and greatest.
Yeah. So Apple's really kind of hitting all the marks here. The prices are good. They're not, you consider the Note 20 is $1,300. The S20 is $1,400. They're hitting all the price points. They're not crippling things and making it hard to choose. Everything is 5G. Everything has all the flavors of 5G. So yeah, I think they're going to sell a ton of these.
Yeah, you can tell just by how quickly when orders went live a couple of weeks ago, and how quickly the shipping dates slipped. I mean, that's why I just got mine yesterday, even though I got my order in at like 15 minutes after the top of the hour. They'd already slipped to like end of October. Now, Apple did once again under promise and over deliver, because I wasn't expecting my phone until today at the earliest, and maybe next week, and it got here yesterday afternoon. But if you look online now, I think many of the models you're looking at mid-November before you'd be able to get one, even though they're shipping.
Yeah, they usually kind of
they'll catch up.
They pad those a bit because they don't want people to be disappointed and say, well, you told me it would come yesterday and it's not coming until next week. So they give a little bit of wiggle room. But yeah, this happens all the time. They're always constrained until like next February. Yeah. It's just, there's so many people buying these things, and now they're not selling them in stores, so that makes it even harder. Everything's shipped.
Right.
They're a lot of stores are closed. A lot of stores are only doing curbside pickup. A lot of stores aren't even doing that. So, most of these things are being shipped out. So that taxes the whole system even more.
Yeah.
Well, I'm ready. I've got mine. I'm ready to go play. Use it for work purposes.
So I'm wondering, before I let you guys go, when's the next Apple event? It's probably going to be the Apple Silicon Mac, right?
Yeah,
mid-November.
Assumption, yeah.
Yeah, most likely I think they said it was like the 17th was the one people were planning.
That's the number that I've seen.
It's the week before Thanksgiving. First of all, they're not going to do it next week because it's election week.
Yeah.
So they got to wait for all that to die down. So I think invitations will probably go out around the 10th, and then the event will be around the 17th. Yeah. What was interesting on the call yesterday, Tim Cook was praising the team and everything for pivoting and all that stuff, but he specifically mentioned the event schedule and how they've created this whole new way of announcing products. And I wonder if that's not something they're considering keeping around.
I hope they do.
For a while. I think next year, most likely they won't have in-person events, but when you think about it, why does Apple even need them? If it can get review units and hands-on units and to journalists, get people to watch their events, have the same excitement for it, which all that seems to have happened with all of these announcements, and spread these things out a little bit more to keep it rolling. Because you don't, if you have to get journalists to come to Apple Park and back, and you can't have 3 events in 2 months. Mm-hmm. But now they can, because no one's going anywhere. So I wonder if they're going to start saying to themselves, you know what? First of all, we save a bunch of money. Second of all, we can do whatever the heck we want because now it's on our terms. So we'll see.
I think they will. I think that's smart, and I agree.
They're fun. They're fun to watch. Much more so than just a stage presentation.
Yeah, agreed.
Great. Well, thank you both so much for joining me. As always, I really appreciate it. And I'm glad we got, the inside scoop, hands-on user experience.
There's no inside scoop here. It's the same scoop as everybody else.
Yes, best phone ever.
And we'll link your review, Mike, and the rest of the stuff that
Thanks.
Macworld's put out. Any hands-on, I'll link them in the description below. I'll make sure I don't miss any. So thank you both so much, as always. And thank you all so much for watching this episode of Today in Tech. If you liked this video, be sure to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel. Hit the bell icon in the corner so you're notified every single time we post a new video, which is just about every weekday. If you have any questions, comments, thoughts about the iPhone 12, did you get it? Do you love it? Do you hate it? Let me know in the comments below. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you next time.